my friends, and welcome to a brand new Football Manager Journeyman save. Today, we'll be looking at the new club that I am managing. I guess you can tell who it is from this awful accent. So, let's roll the intro. That's just so bad. I sound like Count Dracula from Sesame Street. Ho, ho. We're now the manager of Rostov in the Russian league. When I took over, finances weren't insecure. They were actually alright. I've been here about a month and a half. It's been a winter break. I did a couple transfers, and now the club's finances are insecure. You couldn't see my mouse for a second then. I had a couple choices. I had Rostov. I had Camber, who are 18th in the Eredivisie. They had 5 good players, the rest were really quite rubbish. And then I had Zaragoza in the 2nd division of Spain, who were 19th in the league. They're not doing very well, and again, the calibre of players wasn't the best. So I chose Rostov. And this is the calibre of player we've got. I mean, we have 7 players valued over $1 million. Almost 2 million for all of them. We have a really good squad. Have a good team. I'm going to show you a lot of different stuff. I am going to mention, however, the one thing I forgot, once again, there must be no more than 6 foreign players in the first 11. That was after selling a couple Russian players and not buying any Russian players. So I did forget that was the case. I think that rule was only introduced in the last year because of they wanted to do well in their Euros that they're going to be hosting. Or is it the World Cup? No, they got the World Cup. Yeah, how did Russia get a World Cup? Anyway, as things stand, there are 14 games left of the season. They want us to avoid automatic relegation. So that means not drop any lower than we are. I mean, win our game in hand, it's against Zenit. So that's who we're going to see today. So we're not going to win our game in hand. But we're not too far off those spots. And then this, I assume, is just a playoff for relegation. So I think all we need to do is avoid that one. We're okay. I would like to stay up though, make that known. As the club, I mean, they finished 2nd last year in real life. They were in the Champions League, if you guys remember. They beat Bayern. Like, they played against United in Europa League. They finished 8th on the game, then 5th, and then last season they had a pretty bad 12th, and as it stands, they're 14th. It needs to be said, this will of course be a bit of a shorter episode. I mean, there won't be as many games in this one because we're looking around the club, so you have to remember that. Transfer-wise, we made a few deals, so we're going to have to go to whenever I took over. So let's say from here, as these are the only deals I did. We bought in Marcos Barbero on a free transfer. He's valued at 875k. Probably won't really be used all that much. He's a 2.5-star ability. I just thought for a free on 3.5k, he's pretty decent. Then we probably have our 2 big signings of the transfer. Emi Buendia, I've seen him a lot before on FM. He's a fantastic player with great potential. He can grow a lot. He's at Getafe. And he's just a good attacking midfielder. He hasn't had the best of times at Getafe, but I think we can bring the best out of him. These stats are fantastic. He's growing well already. Very quick, very good player, and I think he's going to be really exciting. His current ability is brilliant, and he can only grow, and he should be amazing for the club. Our other big signing was Kennedy from Chelsea. We paid 2 million for him. He's now only valued at 900k. He was valued at 4.5 when we bought him. So I don't really understand that. It may be because his contract runs out in 3 months. What? That's been a disaster. I don't know how that's even happened. How? I didn't even know you could buy players with 5 months left on their contract. Anyway, he looks very good. I think he'll be very good for the league. He should be good on the right-hand side as an inside forward. Should contribute a lot of goals. Maya Yoshida, I needed a backup centre-back. He's got good current ability and potential ability. He's obviously old, but he's decent. I don't know why I mentioned the potential ability as if it's going to change. But yeah, he's quite a good player. I feel a little bit less pace than you'd like, but technically, defensively as well, and mentally, a very good defender indeed. Then we have a right-back. Our second signing from Chelsea. His name's Josh Grant. He can play centre-back and right-back. We'll mainly be using him as a right-back. He's got 3-star current ability, but with really good potential ability. We didn't pay too much for him. And then just another Russian player just to help out in the midfield. This guy looks pretty decent. Not only that, it needs to be said that this club has a lot of great wonder kids, as well as the ones we've just bought. Mikhail Vorobyov, who when we took over, brilliant potential. Looks like he can be very, very good in defensive midfielder. We've got Vyacheslav Ryslov, looks very good. We have Semenov, but 3 here that are all potential to be 4 stars. And if you go to the under-21s, there's even more. We've got Sukarev, who already looks decent. He would definitely get into flipping our Granite side that we just had. And there is Alexei Biroykov, and in the under-19s, just a few players. I assume they were all playing for the other thing. So we're going to actually use a pretty similar tactic to what we were at Granite because it was working quite well for us. We want to hold on to it. We do need to make some changes defensively, which is a little bit frustrating, but it's fine. We can do that, no problem. I'm going to allow him to be the wing-back that he wants to be. We're going to play wing-back. We're going to play defensive wing-backs. Let's do it. That's the formation entirely changed. And we need another midfielder to come in, and he can't be a foreign player. We're going to have to go for Garayev. Can he play? He still prefers to be there. He could be a defensive midfielder. Right, enough of the waffling on. A few of the players are tired. But in goal, we have Andrei Sinitsky. He's a 31-year-old Russian goalkeeper. He's not amazing, but he's Russian, and that'll be someone we'll replace in the summer. Bear in mind, I want to make a lot of signings in the summer, and given there's only 2 months left of the season, if we look here, I mean, the season ends the same time as always, so there's going to be a lot of changes. Right back, we have this guy called Zotov. He can play on both sides of the defence. He's more suited to the right-hand side. He is right-footed. He's got a bit of pace about him. His crossing's okay. Defensively, he's very, very good, which is handy to have. We've got 2 centre-backs, and they're both pretty good. This guy has apparently been their best player this season on a 7.44. However, he's not played all that many games. Great technical, great mental. He's got the perfect stats for a centre-back. I think he's going to be very, very good. One of our more expensive players. Next up, it's Puchko. He's not very happy. He wanted to leave. But a 3.5-star player. Very, very good stats again. 6'3". Great pace for someone that's that tall with so much strength. Should be very good. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. This guy's pretty unhappy because he wanted to leave too, but he's going to be in the starting 11 now. Not too much to say about him. Memeshaj is our best midfielder. He can do pretty much anything. He can be the ball winner. He can be the box-to-box. He's got a bit of everything. I'm playing him as a box-to-box because he's got finishing, first touch, long shots. He has literally everything. He's only got 2 stats below 10, and that's heading and jumping reach. For someone valued at 500k, he looks amazing. And it's not like he's lacking on pace at 33 years old. He's still got 13 acceleration, 13 pace, and 14 stamina. The guy should be a star for us. We're going to be playing Garayev in the midfield. He was the one I showed that we got on loan. Kennedy, obviously, on the right. Emi Buendia. I don't need to show you him again. Maxim Grigorjev is going to be on the left-hand side. Ideally, we would actually be playing Musa Dumbia, but we need to reach the Russian limit, so I'm afraid Grigorjev will be playing. And up front, we have Pedro. He is a 6'3", very tall, relatively quick striker, but he's suited to being an advanced forward too because... sorry, relatively slow but tall is what I meant to say. He's suited to being an advanced forward too though because he's got great of all the technical first touch sort of stats. So I think he should be very, very good. Apparently we're allowed as many subs as we'd like, so I'm going to go ahead and just fill the bench up with anyone and everyone that we possibly can. In fact, it should be a good opportunity to get youngsters on the bench, shouldn't it? That sounds like a good way to do it. That looks like a good way, rather. What am I talking about? And last but most certainly not least, him. Okay, let's get into our first game. I don't believe there's anything I haven't covered. That should be everything. There's a few tied players, but they will cope. We need to do our numbers. I'll get them done. We're playing against Zenit. Obviously, a ridiculously hard game. Hopefully, the next one's a little bit easier. Let's go. Okay, first game. Let's actually do this. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how our team are going to fare. We are playing against third in the division. We can't forget that, so I'm not expecting too much. I'm going to make the latest scores smaller. Obviously, we don't need to see that as much this season, excuse me, because we're not in the title fight like we previously were. I can play now, though. Oh, it's all over the place. There we go. So, Rostov are not doing too well. It's pretty evident to say. 14th in the league. It's not the best, but if we could get anything out of Zenit here, it would be absolutely ludicrous. We're away from home. It would be indicative to say that our formation is actually very good. But looking at the stats, they've had 37% possession, and it's not really working too well. But we play long balls with this formation, and having the height of Pedro... Is it Pedro or Pedro? What do we think? I don't know. Having his height should be effective. But Smolov... Wow, he gets through on goal there, but we do well to stop him from scoring. So I'm interested because I think... Rostov must have a ridiculous youth setup given all the amazing regens they have at the club. So I think that's quite an exciting thing. And it'd be nice to stay here for maybe 2-3 seasons and actually experience just what we can do with all those young players and just how far we can take them. They come forward here though. Javi Garcia plays it outright to Karavayev, and Shatov blazes it over the bar. Gary Lineker's brother. It's pretty exciting to be playing with teams like Zenit in our league. I think that shows the enormous step up really for us as a team that was a manager that was managing Granit, a team that I couldn't even say the name of. Granit Maki, I don't even know. We managed there for a couple years. Going to Russia, I don't expect to be getting into Europe with this Rostov side. I think that would be a stretch. I'm not sure how many players. Let me check how many teams. I don't know what I'm doing. How many teams actually get into to European spots? If we look here, if we look at the rules, it shows that up to 5th you can get into Europe. Which, I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible within a couple seasons when you look at a team like Terek. But also when you look at Zenit in 4th place, the team's very, very good, and they've got a lot of good Russian players. They're doing it right, that's for sure. They've used the Russian players to their advantage, and they've got some of the best. I'm yawning just as they're about to score. I told you. I knew it was going to be a goal. Every time you yawn, it's almost guaranteed. Smolov getting a goal. Good Russian player. I don't think this is the best tactic to have for Rostov, but I'm gonna... That was weird. The highlight didn't load. I'm gonna wait until we play against a team more at our level. I think Zenit is an unrealistic opponent, and I think I'm gonna wait for when we play against any of those teams really in the middle of the table. I'd say even Terek, who are only 4 points behind Zenit. Teams like that, I think maybe we have to wait and see what we could do against them. Every time they go on an attack, I start yawning every time they go on an attack. It's quite worrying every time there's a highlight. Maybe I need to go have a cup of coffee. It is. I don't even know what time it is. I can't see on here. Oh, I thought Smolov was going to get a second. Miranchuk. It's on the line, but it doesn't go in. I thought that was a penalty given there. It's 11:38. Wow. It's very late indeed. Nothing is working, really. Maybe against the bigger sides, we don't play Route 1. It's only 1-0, though, which I think is quite promising, because you never know. A team like us could quite easily nick a goal. If I was to make that... So I'm confused, because I currently only had 5 foreign players on. And I'm going to bring on the young Russian as a poacher. No, just keep him as an advance forward. And then that way, I can actually fix up the midfield a little bit with someone a little bit stronger. As the ball winning support, which is what I wanted really, and it does mean dropping Pedro, but he's only on a 6.6, and really it can't get worse. And I feel like if you give a young player a chance, you're helping obviously for their improval, but improval? That's not a word. It's approval or improvement. You're helping towards their improvement, but also it could mean a lot more than that. What we have to remember is this is a side on the verge of relegation, and Semenov has done well to actually hold the ball here. All the new players are involved in the last 3 touches of the ball. Buendia, it was a nothing highlight. 6 minutes left on the clock. I expected nothing more than a loss to Zenit, and to only lose 1-0, I'm not too upset with that. We're at a club that the game's not even over yet. If we get a draw here, it's ludicrous. I thought Doumbia was going to win that header there. We're at a club that's got less points than we do games on the board. So in reality, a draw, only losing 1-0 is not the end of the world against a Zenit side. Zenit are one of the best sides in the country. Granted, Spartak have kind of run away with it this season. I'm assuming they've, I'm going to say 1-13, drawn 3, lost 1. No, wow, they're unbeaten this season. They did go 14-3. That's amazing. So they're unbeaten this season. So they're obviously a great side. We've gone 2-0 down to Zenit now. But they're one of the powerhouses of the league. Let's just quickly check how they've got on the last couple of years. I mean, they finished 2nd every single season that the game's been on. They must be decent. You can't be rubbish like that. Spartak, how are Spartak Moscow doing? So they've won it the last 2 years. They have Quincy Promes still doing bits. Fernando. They've got some good players, but some great Russians too. They're unbeaten this season. That's unbelievable. Golovin. Oh, I think I called him Golovkin just now. He's a boxer. Didn't he beat Kell Brook? That's the last I saw him, and I might be even wrong about that. But anyway, we've lost 2-0 to Zenit. I'm not too upset. I'm gonna say I'm annoyed with it, but I'm not really, you know. I'm not really that upset with it. Possession-wise, we were just played off the park. So I need to work out if we do take a different approach to it. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what different approach we could take. I'm going to just hold out. We're going to play against... This is the team I actually mentioned, I think, during the game. We're going to play against these guys. If it's horrific, then I'll change it. I'll change stuff around. But if we have a good game with them, then I am happy to carry on. I'm going to also do a little bit of research. If we look here, if we look at our results, we beat Spartak Nalchik and we beat Arsenal Tula, who are two of the bottom sides. They're 12th. They're actually out of the relegation zone, and obviously Tula are in it. We lost to quite a few teams. We beat... No, we've not beat a single team 1-0 in the division this season, which is quite interesting to me. But there we go. A few of us, we haven't really won many games. There's not many to play on. Like, in fact, if we go on this bit, we've won 3. We beat Krasnodar, which was a great result against 7th. But then we've only won 2 other games, and it's to the team bottom of the league and to the team right there. So let's get on with it. Let's try and get some wins on the board. They're over halfway through and they've won 3 games. We should be expected to only win 3 games for the rest of the season now. But we're going to do more than that, I'm sure. Guys, I did it again. Just recorded that entire game. At least it wasn't the whole episode, but I recorded that whole game with no volume. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at the highlights of the game. I noticed... Let me walk you through what happened. We had a couple injuries. I noticed that we had 1 extra foreign player spot. In came Musa Dumbia. Other than that, the squad remained the same. I was very excited that we were playing against a good side. As you're going to see here, they went 1-0 up with a goal. Obviously, that's how you go 1-0 up. You don't go 1-0 up without a goal. Tapote scored a nice little finish there. That's good. Good for him. It then went on to... I've backed out the wrong way here. Can I just view highlights? Let's just view the goals. So, you just saw this one. We'll skip to the next one. The next goal was in the 35th minute. I was pretty happy with this. I spent a lot of the game talking about how I don't know whether or not it's a good idea. I spent a lot of the game talking about whether I should stick with this formation or not. And in the end of the squad, I was happy with this. It was an away point against 8th. And I think for a team in 15th, an away point against anyone is good. So our first goal was basically the same as theirs. That made it 1-1. But yeah, I think an away point against anyone is good. Anyone in the division. So an away point to 8th, especially if we were leading and we played pretty well. Looking at the stats, I was impressed with it. I think maybe it is worth sticking with this formation for a little bit. We were away to Zenit St. Petersburg. We do have to remember that. Kennedy scored an absolute worldie. Fair play to the lad, the new signing, show him what he can do. And then within 15 seconds of the second half, literally the highlight starts with them kicking off. I was saying a load of stuff like the last episode about how all this win could mean a lot for us. They played the ball over, played it across. Osbold made it 2-2. We made some subs obviously later on in the game. But the game finished 2-2. There's 21,000 people in attendance. It was a good game. I am trying to decide now because we've got quite a few games left to play. I don't know if we should include this Cuban Krasnodar one. I don't think we will. I think I'm going to go and play that off camera. We're going to come back with the triple header of Dynamo Moscow in 9th, Amkar who in 14th, who are quite close to us, and Angie in 10th. I feel like these 3 could be relevant, and then maybe we'll come back later on in the season for some more of those. But as it stands, I'm going to go play 2 of these games, and then we'll have that triple header for the next episode. So I hope you guys did enjoy it. Apologies I messed up with my microphone. I'm going to try more to keep on top of it, because that's very frustrating, especially for me. I'm sure it's also frustrating for you, but it's annoying for me. If we have a quick look at the table, that point meant a lot, I guess. Amkar had leapfrogged us. I forgot to say they played since the last game, and they did get a win in their game. So they played the day before us, but that's pretty big. But a win now would take us up to 13th at the very least. All we need to do is avoid this bottom relegation. I never properly read the rules. Yeah, 13th and 14th qualify for a relegation playoff. That's that. So if we finish outside of these bottom 2, if we finish in these 2, we play against the other team in a playoff. But ideally, I want to be finishing in these 3 spots, 4 spots. I mean, in reality, it's not that far away. 9 points and we're there, and there's still 12 games left to play. Who knows? Thank you very much for watching, guys. My bad that once again I messed it up. Hopefully, that's the last time that happens. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.